welcome to another live episode of Earthworks Hub. It's Sunday, the 25th of August, 2024. I thank you all for joining. Tonight is a special episode. You asked for it and you shall receive. All the listeners have been saying that they really enjoy the guest episodes. So tonight I've doubled up on that and I actually have two guests. So I'm going all out tonight. We've got two guests coming on in another minute, but I will do my regular spiel as I always say, and then we'll jump on and talk to those. So you do want to hang around. I've got those guys coming on. This is on Instagram. So if you don't have an Instagram account, you can watch this later on when I upload it on YouTube and Spotify or Apple Podcast. All right, so I'm Ivan Orlovic. I didn't say that. And like I said, you asked for it and you got it. These episodes, I do upload them all, like I said earlier, so you can always go back and listen to them later on. A quick shout out to all my sponsors. So that's the Network Finance, the Bole Group, Melbourne Tractors, Spartan Machinery, Nexgen Landscapes, JR Safety Co, Diggerlid, Digga, Godings, and Earthmoving Warehouse. So thank you to all my sponsors. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor, just send me a message either on email, which is info@earthworkshub.com.au, or hit me up with a DM. Quick project update. Project Spalding still going ahead. We've got painters in there this week. Tiling's been done. We've got electricity getting connected to the actual building. And what else? We had a letterbox installed. And I think that is pretty much it. After that, I'm just going to be doing carpet tiles upstairs, some floorboards downstairs, and then I'm going to need to do some line marking, bollards, a bit of landscaping, and it will basically be done. So I'm not very far away from finishing that factory. I am going to be moving my studio, so I'm going to do something different. When I set up my next studio, so that's within the next week or two, you will see something different. So my plan is I'm going to set it up in my garage in the next place, and I'm going to actually make it like a half man cave, half podcast studio. So I want to make it something like a little whiskey bar, cigar lounge style, but with a hint of Earthworks podcast in the background. So I'm working on a few things. If you've got some ideas and you want to contribute to my next studio, also send me some of your some of your suggestions. I'm open to that, and it'd be interesting to hear what you guys have got to say. But in the next week or two, you will see a new studio and a bit of a different background. So I hope you all like it. So once again, I see a lot of people logging on TikTok. We're going to be doing a live episode with guests on Instagram, so you may not hear all their responses. So I apologize in advance to everyone that's just logging on then. Some posts throughout the week. So this week I actually got to use a little Wackeneusen 1.7 tonner. So hopefully you guys saw that little video come out. Impressive little machine. For a 1.7 tonner, it was very, very stable, even though it was a zero swing. Very, very stable, maybe because it had a little counterweight on it. I widened the tracks, which is always a good thing with little 1.7s. And it actually sat nice and firm on the ground, even when I was reaching out sideways and like pulling up grass out of a swale drain. It did that with no problem. I loaded up a little trailer with it, which was a bit awkward, but using the mud bucket and the small bucket. I wish I had some grabs to grab the grass and take it out in chunks, but we managed. But overall, a good little machine. The Wackeneusen, I was very, very impressed with that. That's the EZ or EZ17. So very, very good machine. All right, so without further ado, let's hit the topic. I don't want to keep you guys waiting. I have two guests that are going to join me tonight to help me discuss this topic. And they are not new to the program, so they've been on here with me before, so most of you guys will know them. I won't introduce them until I put them on, but I'm going to let them on in a second. Let me just log in these young gentlemen. 1 second. All right. Hi, Jack. We got Jack. He's a bit of an angle then. You might have to spin your camera around. You're on a different angle.
Actually 180.
There you
copy.
There you
Better?
go, mate. There you go. That's better. That's better.
How come you get a whole half a screen to yourself? What's the go there?
I'm the
Feel like I've
special host,
been
mate.
ripped off.
I'm the host. I get the most. Oh, no, hey, all right, guys. Thank you very much. It works. I was actually a little bit concerned. I thought this might not work. I haven't done it before with two guys on here. So, first of all, thank you very much for coming on the show. So a quick introduction. We've got Jack Healey from EMBE Hire. What's that? Chuka, Moama, Bobcat, and Excavator Hire. He's
Yeah,
been
mate.
on the show before, so thanks for coming on, Jack.
No worries. Thank you.
All right. And then we've got Shane from Terrapro Earthworks. Thanks for joining as well.
Yeah, of course, mate. Thanks for having us back.
No worries, man. No problem. Good to have you guys on here, and thank you for coming on and helping with this topic. I think this topic's going to be good for a lot of guys, especially subcontractors that are out there, guys with their own businesses. So, the topic tonight is going to be how to win over a new customer, and sort of like what methods do you use to try and get a new customer to get you to jump on board. And I'm not talking about like customers you've worked for before. And I know a lot of times we already win customers over because by word of mouth, you've already probably gotten to them, through word of mouth, or they've heard about you before. But this is like for fresh new customers, yeah. So let's go into the topic. Does anybody want to start out of you two boys? Anyone want to start first and give, like, what would you say is one method? We can go method by method or person by person. How do you want to do it?
Someone go.
You're in charge, mate. You've got the full screen. Come on.
Oh man! All right. Look, I'll start. Look, I would say that even if like a lot of the like as I was going through and actually coming up with some of these points, I realized that a lot of the points I was writing down where we take a bit of a hit. So like we money wise, I suppose it is. So like my first one I put down was maybe you can say I won't charge you a float on the first job. Like you can say, look, let's do a waiver on the float for the first job to try and win them over and get you to give you a go. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. Like, this topic hits pretty hard for me because it's something I'm trying to get through at the moment. And to the point where I've actually gone back to existing clients and had really good discussions with whether it's directors or company owners or things like that. And I've asked them, like, what are some of the things that you go through when a potential new contractor is trying to get in, whether it be a chippy, a plumber, or a sparky, or earth moving, whatever. And some of the discussions I've been having are just proof, like social proof. One particular client that I deal with, they will never hire again someone that they don't know of themselves, or a worker has a relationship with, because they've had really bad experiences when they've gone outside of that network. So, because I went down this path, I was like, would it be more beneficial for me to offer discount rate or, no float for the first job and things like that? But I mean, it hasn't really worked out just yet, because the people that I seem to be contacting or looking to get in with work, they're the ones that everybody's looking to get in with work. So you really need something either above and beyond everybody else, or you just got to do it different. So there's some of the things I've been finding out, like, recently.
Yeah. And what about yourself, Jack? What do you think about like saying something like not charging the float for the first one or something?
Yeah, see, that's a topic we're not quite familiar with in the country, I suppose, because we don't get that anyway. At best you charge your hourly rate from when you leave your yard to when you get back, sort of thing. But yeah, as far as a float cost goes, that's a term we're unfamiliar with in this area. Yeah.
So you guys don't have a float fee to a job? Like, you don't?
No, mate, no. There wouldn't be a bloke in town that would be charging that at the minute.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know whether we're behind on that, or whether it's just a country thing, or what. I couldn't tell you, mate. But I'd never heard of it until I've done a bit of work for Kingston Plant Hire. They'd won a job here when I first went out on my own, and we did a bit for them. And they sent up their docket book, and it had float in there. I was like, well, do I tick that? Do I not? Like it's you know, it's 10 k's down the road, mate. Like it's not real far. Like
Yeah.
yeah. So that was the first time I'd even come across it.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow, there you go. Yeah, because
And I suppose
yeah.
Sorry, I suppose it's probably a little bit different because, you know, in the country, if you're going 100 k's, you're going a long way from home, and you're still only an hour away. Like if you go in Melbourne, you might only be going 10 k's down the road, and it still takes you 2.5 hours. So it's probably a bit different too, I suppose.
Oh, 100%, mate. Yeah, like I'm in Footscray tomorrow, and it's 115 kilometres, and I leave my yard at 4:15 in the morning.
Yeah,
Just yeah,
that's
like
insane, eh? Like,
and I get slugged about $86 worth of tolls to get there. That's one way.
Yeah,
One
so
way.
like yeah, a float's probably not really as a money making item for you either. Then I suppose it's just it's a cost covering exercise.
It's just covering your cost. It would be almost the same if you were to charge like an hourly fee, I guess, like your rate from the yard or back to the yard. I don't know other states or other regions, but for instance, with us, it's 90% of the people that I've dealt with we only charge one way, so we'll only charge that one-off fee to get to the job. Not to leave the job. I don't believe it's different with the bigger machines either, like 20 ton, anything that needs like a low loader or a spreader deck or something. I'm not sure if they charge both ways, but 100% if you're hiring something, you're getting reamed both ways.
Yeah, 100%. And if we dry hire something, we pay for it. But yeah, other than that, like, most of our works, I mean, 90% of my work would be within 15 minutes of my yard. So it's sort of neither here nor there, eh?
That's ideal.
Yeah. Yeah. With some of the bigger machines, I know when I used to have the bigger machines, we'd charge a float in, and then if you were there for 3 days or more, then you wouldn't charge a float back out. But if you were there for less than 3 days, then you charge a float out as well.
Oh,
or the customer would say you can leave it here to your next job, and then you might sort of waive it. But usually, you charge like that.
Sure.
Yeah, but you do. Yeah, the only time I suppose that we did, and myself mainly, is charge as when I had combos. So when I used to have like a 5-ton or a posse with my tipper, then I would charge like an hour travel or something, just to make up for that time, and no float. That would be just part of the travel time. But yeah, interesting. I never knew that. Somebody just wrote on here earlier that they're in the country and they do charge float. So maybe it's different in different parts.
Just going to mention that's Matty Wild. I know Matty real well. And that's probably something I need to clarify. Like I'm talking small combos. I'm not talking 20-ton diggers. Like he's running big diggers. That they obviously charge a float because it's necessary. Like it's not everyone's got a float.
Yeah.
Understood. All right. So that was the first thing I sort of thought of. Then I thought, maybe lowering your hourly rate on the first job, maybe giving it like a bit of a discount or something. I don't know, just to try and get in the door. Like I said, this is mainly for brand new customers, especially like now when you don't have much work and you're probably looking at, customers you've never dealt with before. So maybe would you guys say that's another thing people could do?
I believe so. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You could definitely have a crack at it. You just got to be careful on the size of the job, I suppose, too, because otherwise you can push yourself into a corner pretty easily too.
Yeah.
By trying to be too eager, I suppose, in a way.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
So the one time that I had one person, I'm on the higher side of rates for 5-ton excavator and operator. There's definitely a lot of people higher than me, and there's a lot of people lower than me. I had one client question me once, it's a little bit more than we're used to paying. And I just straight up said, look, I will happily do the job to the rate that you're used to paying if you're not happy with the work I'm doing. So this is what I charge. Let's get one day under our belt and go from there. And within about 3 hours, they just said, there's no stress at all. So there was, and definitely, like, you don't want to be discounting yourself. Like, you've come up with your rate for, you've come up with what you charge for, that's what you're worth. It's like, well, you shouldn't, you're not buying a Ferrari on a freaking, Mazda budget. So, not saying I'm a Ferrari, but I like to like to think that you're offering a premium service, so you are paying a slightly higher average of rate. But yeah, it's an interesting one to try and discuss with a new potential client. Definitely. I don't know. A lot of the things I've been doing, which might be, well, I'm positive that most of the people I've contacted with this probably have never received anything like it. But having a design background and marketing background and things like that, I've actually been putting together PDFs with high-end photos of the Digga and the services I offer and what working with Terrapro would be like, and it's all packaged up in this really beautiful looking PDF with my rates and everything like that, to the fact where I've had a few people go, mate, like, I've never seen anything like this.
Yeah. And true, it is true, like you say. Yeah, your work reflects your rate, I suppose. And then, there is somebody just wrote in there before that. Why should we be out of pocket? I suppose I'm going through the couple of ones that are going to take us out of pocket. That's probably one way to do it, but there are other ways too, which we can discuss in a minute. But I just thought we'll go through those first.
For sure.
And I was saying as well, like, apart from maybe lowering your rate, and you can say to them, like, I'll lower it on the first day just to see how I go, and then after that, it's going to go back up to my rate, or you can say maybe the first few hours is going to be on the reduced rate, and then after that, if you think you're happy, then we'll go back to my rate. I don't know, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
Or the other one is, if you're quoting the job, maybe reducing your profit margin a little bit for this first job that you're doing for them, if you're doing a quoted one. And then saying, look, I'm happy to not make as much on this one, and then prove yourself, and then hopefully get more out of them,
They're all definitely options. There's no worries about that.
Yeah. What about the listeners? Is it, while we're actually discussing, while we're discussing this, if any listeners have any points, like some of the guys that have been writing stuff already, also let us know what you do to attract new customers and to get in with them. So yeah, Sydney Rockwell Constructions is saying quality reflects your value in his eyes, so that's true.
100%, 100%, and that's why, for instance, in my case, I'm being very active on socials, and I post my work and walk through. I do some lives on what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, because from the clients that I have been interacting with, it's all come back to, they literally go to Instagram. So I've created a website recently because I do have a couple of national clients, and I felt I needed to create a website to show that I'm hitting that kind of box, or checking that box for those bigger clients. And even talking with them, they're like, "No, man, we just go straight to Instagram." So you kind of, and like, one of those companies is, they're a global company that they're doing like $5 billion a year, and they go to Instagram. So it's pretty awesome to hear that. Hence why you want to be showcasing your quality and what you're doing to kind of offer that next level of service.
Yeah. What else? So something else that I had was maybe staying back a bit later, like especially if it's a job that they want to get done and it's sort of semi-urgent or a bit urgent, maybe staying back that night, even if you don't usually stay back after 8 hours, maybe staying back just trying to help them finish that job, or telling them, like, if you want me to start a bit later instead of early, or if you want to do a night shift or something, just to get in the door with them. That's probably another thing that I could think of, and as well as maybe sometimes staying back a bit later and then maybe not even charging. So if you stay back for an hour to finish something on the first job, maybe don't charge them for that, and then just mention that from now on it will be. But today I'm just going to help you out. I don't know, what do you guys think of that?
I think, or for me, I think going the extra mile all the time just sort of goes without saying. If someone's got a job that they want to get done today, then you do what you can to help them out. And I mean, 9 times out of 10, we're all pushing for time anyway. So if you can get it done today and get to the next one tomorrow, well, sweet. Like, yeah, you just help them out where you can. They want to do it on a Saturday because that's when it works with their shutdown, or a Sunday or whatever. If you can do it, you just make it happen.
Yeah.
I'm a believer of really trying to find out what the client needs from that project, whether it is I had an example recently of a retaining wall I built in the early days of starting. And I probably was slightly more expensive than other quotes or other people that might have offered. But what I found out by working with the client was their biggest concern was tidy, not disturbing the existing driveway, which was a extremely steep CT driveway, cement treated crushed rock. And we were working with clay, so they didn't want any clay to go throughout the property. They wanted to keep it neat. We didn't want to have any issues with rain washing silt and clay into the house, which was lower than the work itself. And so by finding out exactly what that project needed and the client needed, I came up with a method of getting that job done neatly without any issues of clay. And we left the job spick and span, and that client was super happy to pay that little bit extra to make sure that someone didn't come in guns blazing, smash it out in a couple of days with a heap of boys, and trash the joint and ruin the driveway and things like that. So really finding out what the client needs from the project, whether it's is it a time crunch? Do you need 6 days or 7 days a week? Is it a week-long project? I'm happy to do 7 days. I feel like being your own, being in charge of your own business, there is no weekends. It's like if I have to start on a Tuesday and finish, 3 weeks time on a Wednesday, it's nothing to me, because if I'm hankering for time off, I'll just schedule the next project to start in a couple of days after,
Yeah. I suppose, like you're saying, though, it doesn't always mean money. Like sometimes, I suppose the thing is, yeah, you're right. Every customer has some type of problem, so you've got to be the solution to that. So if you can give them solutions to try and fix whatever problem is, they'll be happy to put you on. So I think something that I always think about is I always try and have like tip sites in mind, other subbies in case we need other machines, so that when they say to me like, hey, we need you to come and dig this out, and then you say to them, all right, so what are you going to do with the dirt? They say, oh, I'm not sure. You can say to them, well, I've got a tip site for you if you need. I can organise trucks. So then they'll choose you over someone else, because you can say, well, I can be your overall solution,
Yeah, certainly. And again, that's like a communication thing, that you just need to be able to have an open network of discussing with your client, like what do you need, what does the job require, I can offer X, Y, Z, and don't get caught out with free tip sites. I've been done for that before. I was like, look, I'll get a free tip site, we'll pump it out, and the free tip site was like, yeah mate, I'll take all of it. They took 7, I still had 7 left to get rid of, and they were gone. Like the site was locked, and then the only way I could take it was a place I had to pay, and I just I wore it out of my pocket.
Mm.
So
It's funny.
Don't get sucked into free tip sites.
It's funny you say that, because I was just going to say another thing you could do is you could say to the customer, if you do happen to have a free tip site, you can say like, oh look, I'm not going to charge you for the tip this time, or do a little say, usually it's $5 a meter, but I can do it today for $2 a meter, just to get in and help them. But like you say, you could get caught out as well.
Yeah, well, yeah, because down here, for instance, on the peninsula, there's only 2 technical, legal places you can take commercial fill, or from our line of work, and they can be really picky. Like you can have clean sand. One site will be like, oh, it's got too many roots in it, we're going to charge $20 a meter, but on any other given day, it's only 5. So yeah, I've always been pretty clear on just saying, look, I believe it'll be this, but at the end of the day, it's up to the tip site. And I don't hide that information from clients either. Like if I've openly said, hey, you're welcome to call the site. They're the only place down here. Like for me, it's pretty black and white. Like I'm not, some people are like, oh yeah, I've got to pay $30, and they're like, well, where are you taking it? And they're like, people try and dodge questions and fib and get caught out, whereas it's just be transparent. Be like, hey, this is where I've got it going today. We've got some really good clean stuff. I can take it here for a cheaper rate. The dirtier stuff, we get a better rate at the other place, and they can always call and cross-reference if they want to. Like, it's just what it costs.
Yeah, I can see Moba's writing something there. Moba Australia are saying, do you charge extra for utilizing technology such as 2D or 3D, and does this help you win jobs to be more efficient? That's a good question. Actually, Jack, you might be good at answering that.
Yeah, once again, the old country way. You just you grin and bear it. So when we've implemented the technology, we've implemented 3D across both machines at the minute. And I've just banged my hourly rate up $10 an hour across the board, whether you're using it or not. It's too hard to go do a job for a bloke and he doesn't want to use it, but it's easier for you to use it, so you use it anyway. So then you're out of pocket, or it just saves the arguments. Or they say, oh, you've only used it for 4 hours today. We're only paying for 4 hours for the extra $10 or $15 an hour or whatever. So it just across the board, we just put it up. The blokes that use it and see you using it want you to use it all the time. The blokes that have never seen it, they're oblivious to it. They're just they don't want to know about it.
Yeah, that's a good way.
Fair. I definitely wanted to know how that goes. I've met with MOBA. We had a bit of a discussion on site in Footscray, but if I was using 2D and specialising in a bit of that kind of stuff, I would be on a similar page where I'd like to up my hourly rate. But for instance, 3D on like 13s and 15s and 20s, like down in Melbourne, it's $40 an hour when they're using that stuff. And I mean, the jobs that they're using it on though are used to that. Like they're not really doing that with a domestic, site cut or anything. The jobs that are requiring it are actually
100%
for that tech. But I like
100%.
tackled that. I would definitely flat rate would be something I'd look into for sure.
Yeah.
Like I say, that there's 2 or 3 mobs that we work for that, when I say they use it all the time, they know what they're looking for. Like they have models to give you for their job. So they know that they're going to be paying for it because they want you to use it because you've got it. They've got the design. They want you to use it. But blokes that don't have a design and go, we can't use it. Well, you can because you can do an infield design and use it. So that they're just oblivious to the fact that you're using it for them. You know what I mean? Like they don't realise that it's actually speeding the job up or making it neater, making it faster. They're just oblivious.
It'll be the standard. It has to be the standard because it's so much more efficient. There's no, how do you say, mate, like one of these retaining wall jobs I did was because a previous earth mover had overcut a site by a metre. Like how the fuck are you going to do that with GPS? The old meter trick on the
You
start.
would be surprised how easy that would be. Even with it, you can get yourself into some pickles. Let me be assured. Yeah, and it's as simple as not changing your bucket when you change buckets. Yeah, that can get you in all sorts of trouble real fast, eh? But you'll only do it a couple of times because you will learn. You will learn.
Yeah, for sure. I know the biggest one that is a stickler for, I guess, detail in my experience is basements. Like the amount of times I've had blokes come over, like not aggressive, but just fretting that you're going to over excavate or detail the sides in between piers and things. Oh, shotcrete's expensive. I'm like, mate, I'm not digging a vertical trench, a horizontal trench. I'm just detailing your 150 back or whatever it might be. But they always a stickler for being precise when you're detailing basement walls. That's for sure.
Oh, and then you touch one little bit and a whole bunch falls out, and then it's ends up being 500 behind the wall instead of 150. Yeah. Especially if there's rocks and that. It's the worst. You pick one rock and then everything starts collapsing out from behind the pier. I've been there, done that, been there. I suppose, and then Earthworking Australia saying, I think he's referring back to when we were talking about, doing what we said, favours. Offering to do favours when you start with a client will always bite you in the ass, and you may lose the work in the future when you hit them up for the normal rates because they'll remind you of those favours. Yeah, true. That's true. No, the other. Oh, what's Atacama saying? Shane sounds pretty quiet. Oh, your sound might be.
I feel like through. I don't know. I use the headphones, but I don't think the mic connects to the headphones. I think it still comes through the phone. I've moved it closer, so hopefully that helps. But
Oh, yeah, it does seem to go up and down a little bit. So yeah, apologies for the sound out of camera, but we'll work it out. All right. So the other, like I was saying, that yeah, you always want to have some sort of solution. What about, I suppose, as a bare minimum, if you want to look attractive to a new customer, some of the bare minimums that I come up with is, for example, you need to have all your documentation right to start with, at least. So at least you can tell them, listen, I've got all my public liability, all my insurance, vehicle insurances, up-to-date risk assessment, all my tickets, all my maintenance history, and the pre-start book. Would you guys agree? Like, you got to have, at least you got to show them that you've got all those things at the, like before you even start.
You'd be shocked
I
at
think,
how
yeah.
many people don't. Yeah, you have to have it.
And
If you want to be,
yeah.
you want to be up there for sure.
Yeah.
Sorry, go, Jack.
Yeah. No, you hit the nail on it. It's just a given, I reckon. I don't even reckon that should need explaining. If you don't have it, you don't have it. Like you're
Yeah.
mad.
Yeah.
That's rule number one. Everything's, you got to, just for your own sake, have all your ducks in a row. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree that I have seen, I think Shane was just starting to say that, yeah, you'd be surprised that a lot of people still don't have it even these days. They haven't got, like, their risk assessments are out of date, or they haven't got their history. And I'm like, you're better off just to make sure, because you don't want to get on site and then you're there stuffing around, like trying to quickly scramble and get someone to come out and do a risk assessment last second. And yeah, just too hard, man. Just better get it organized, especially if you're trying to win that new customer. You want them to look at you and go, wow, this guy's got everything.
Well, that's been my foot in the door on a few jobs. I think I've definitely gotten in with at least two that I know very clearly. I got in over somebody else because I had everything in line. All my servicing I stick with Cabelco for my machine, not purely for any reason other than keeping my warranty up to check. I don't have to stress about it. Ticks all the boxes. It comes up like on my machine when I need to get it done. My risk assessments, the company I use sends me a reminder every 12 months that, hey, your risk assessment's due for a renewal. I've upped my public liability to get on some of the bigger jobs because it was needed. So 20 million, a lot of companies now won't, 10 million is not enough. And then all your insurances, work cover, everything like that. And I find just having a folder with all your PDFs as well, when you are getting ready to go to a job that requires that style of paperwork, just shoot it off the night before. They've got it, they've uploaded it into their systems, Hammertech or whatever it might be. And then there's no delays in the morning. You just hit the ground running and, being efficient.
Yeah. Yeah. And I suppose the other thing is also, you got to make sure that if you are trying to impress this new customer, at least you turn up with all the correct PPE, when you first turn up, or even when you go there to introduce yourself and you walk on their site, you want to make sure that you look the part. So you really go on and you really show them that you've got all the right PPE. And then also when you do talk to them, and if they want to see your machines or they're talking to you about what you've got, you tell them what you've got. And then when you do turn up, make sure it's clean and maintained, and so they don't turn up with a shit box on their site the first day. Yeah, not going to last long. Yeah. Yeah. What other points have you got? Have you guys got any points as well? Like, what would you to win a new customer over? Anything I haven't said?
I think you probably just touched on a little one. I think presentation speaks for itself. Whether it's whether it's your machine and your truck and all that sort of gear, or whether it's your appearance in general. With rock up with your shirt on and all fluoro. You don't have a vest over the top of a hoodie that you fucking wore last Saturday when you're on the piss, and just be tidy in general. I think that speaks for itself too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I've
then
caught myself out a few times looking a bit rough around the edges, doing some big days, and haven't really looked in a mirror for like a week or something. I was like, oh shit, I look like a bit of a hobo. Might have to spruce up a bit, going to a new site.
Yeah. It's funny. It's true. Yeah, appearance is big. Well, and something someone told me once is that a customer told me once that when you turn up to site, he used to say the best way he can judge whether you're going to actually be good or not is he'd watch as you unload your machine off your truck. So if you're turning up with a 5-tonner or a posi or something, you're taking it off the back of a truck on the ramps, they'd watch how you actually take it off, and are you doing it nice and smooth, or are you bouncing around everywhere? Do you look like you're about to flip the machine over? Because I was saying a lot of times, guys turn up and they can hardly take it off the truck, and they're thinking, oh, this guy's going to be here digging all day. How's this going to go?
Yeah. Look, you got dirt side excavations there saying definitely public appearance is a big key factor.
Yeah.
So when I first got my digger, I wanted a custom paint job, and unfortunately that wasn't or didn't seem to be achievable through the traditional methods. So one of my closest friends does wraps and graphics for quite a large company, and I picked out this, what I thought was an epic, color shifting blue, fucking gold, silver looking color, and it would have been amazing, to see it. But I genuinely stopped myself from doing that because, these bigger sites, you'll get some old boy on there that's just like, what's this fucking unicorn rainbow machine over here? Get it out of here,
Yeah.
And I have heard of some things like that, like people's names and, some slogans and things getting people in a bit of strife, or, people judging because of those things. I'm not going to say them, but I'm sure you can piece a few things together. But definitely like your appearance and the way your company comes across is a big thing. Yeah.
What about yourself, Jack? You've got some clean machines. I had someone that or someone that I know that you worked for, and he was mentioning how your machine looked tip top, and he was saying to me that he thought it was like a brand new machine when it rocked up.
Yeah, you try your hardest, I suppose. My old boss would never hire anyone if they had a dirty ute. If they rocked in with a dirty ute, he wouldn't put you on, because he said that's how if that's how he treats his ute, that's how he's going to treat my machine, so he ain't getting in it. And that sort of stuck from pretty early on, I suppose. So try and keep your stuff tidy.
Yeah,
that goes.
Yeah, that's a fair.
For employees with work utes as well.
Yeah.
Employees with
100%.
work utes, I used to get mine detailed professionally once a month, and people be like, "Why are you paying money to do it?" I'm like, "Mate, I got a free ute with fuel. Like, all I have to do is pay like a couple $100 to get it professionally detailed. Like, why would I not do that?
Yeah, that's a fair point, because like you say, if they're not taking care of their vehicle, how are they going to take care of the work the office, which is basically their machine? So yeah, true, very good point. Yeah, so appearance is a big thing. Yeah, so, and that's also, like I said, if you're approaching a customer, even if you're not on the work site, so you might go and see them while they're on the work site and turn up, you also got to look the part when you first go in and speak to them, because that's their first appearance, that's their first opinion of you, I suppose.
They say opinions don't matter, but they do. The first one definitely counts.
Yeah. All right. So going back, a couple of things that I mentioned, I suppose, were one is where we're probably taking a bit of a hit. So I suppose you can reduce your rate a little bit for the first job, or even for the first few hours or something, say until they get to see who you are. The other one was to reduce your profit margin if you're quoting a job. What was some of the other things I was saying? So yeah, you can waive the float fee on the first one. Maybe you can also even charge for a single machine. Even if you're doing a combo, you might be able to say, well, look, I'll only charge you as if I'm using one machine for today, just to get in the door. And then the other ones were like, staying back a bit to try and finish jobs, get them done, or get them over the line, or staying back a bit and maybe not charging for that time, just to try and finish something off. What else was there? So I also had, having solutions always for them. So I was saying, always make sure you can try and offer them some tip sites, or if you've got some other guys that or other owner operators with trucks, because often I'll do a job and I'll say, oh, we need to get some trucks in. So then I call guys that I know always. And then, tip sites and stuff. And like previous contractors they had might not have been able to get their hands on someone like that to help them out. Yeah. So if you can say, look, I can do all that for you, I can get rid of the material while I'm here, or I can go and hire a roller and jump on the roller for you and stuff, then they're going to be happy. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Get the job done.
Yeah. Has there been times where you guys have had to do other things? So What about like maybe jumping out and doing other things? Like either on the tools or jumping on another piece of equipment. Do you guys ever do that?
Yeah. Yep.
60% of my life, I reckon.
Yeah.
Every bit of it.
Yeah.
Every bit of it.
The
Yeah.
commercial job I was on that went for the year and a half, mate. I actually built and assembled playgrounds. I read plans. I came up with methods on how to solve solutions that were way above my pay grade. Brought chainsaws in to sculpt the log bloody seating, sourced the log seating. The client had a particular supplier that was getting them for an astronomical amount of money because that needed to be certain, time dried. It was all like proper engineered specs to the materials they needed to provide.
Yeah.
But I'm lucky enough, my ability to source any kind of solution to a problem is vast. And sure enough, I know a guy that knows a logging mill, and made a phone call and got what was meant to be a $3,000 log for $600, and everybody still made some money and was happy. So yeah, like the amount of work that gets done on the ground that I'm willing to do and happy to do, and I'm sure Jack has as well, is out of the machine at all times, mate. Like building retaining walls, lifting concrete sleepers by hand. Like, we'll do anything to get the job done.
Yeah, I suppose you can mention that to them when you first approach them. Say, look, I'm willing to do some other things if you need me to. I've had operators where I've turned up on jobs doing the same thing, doing some landscaping, or I think we were doing like a footy oval once, and I went to go see my operator, see how it was going, and I saw him on the roller, and I said to him, "Hey, what are you doing? You're on the roller?" And he goes, "Yeah, I've been on this for the last 3 days." But they've had him on the roller for 3 days, and he goes, "I don't care. It's something different. I'm not in the machine, so I don't care. We're still getting paid the same." So, yeah, there you go. Yeah, you got to be willing to do a bit of everything, I suppose.
Yeah.
And it's
Doesn't matter what it is if they're.
Yeah. What's that, Jack? Say again.
I said I don't reckon it matters what it is if they're paying. I don't care what it is. Yeah, I'll go sweep the side up, mate. I don't care. Whatever. Yeah.
Hey, you know what?
If I get me 10 hours, I'm happy.
Yeah, it's it. Sometimes it's good, you know what? When you think about it, your machine's not running, you're not paying for diesel, so you're still getting paid the same. You might as well just go and sweep a little bit, or use the whacker plate, or whatever you got to do.
Yeah, even like pulling, like
100%.
one of the jobs I'm on at the moment, I have to bring my own drills and things like that to pull down fences that have been, temporarily screwed together and things to get access to site, rather than letting the contractor or the client, have his workers be there to do it. I'm just like, mate, I'll just bring all my own stuff and do it myself.
Yeah.
So, and then at the end of the day, making sure it's all back up, so no one can get back into the site. So timber screws, like all that kind of stuff. Nothing to do with the job itself that I'm doing, but it's a part of access, and it just needs to be done. And by offering that to the client, they don't have to stress about having one of their workers there just for 30 minutes of work every day,
Yeah. I've got Sydney Rockwall Construction is saying loyalty also plays a part from both sides, but I see sometimes the cost of machine hire outweighs the loyalty and things you have done. Yeah, very true. And then Garefa Earthworks is saying, fellas, thoughts on how you charge combo rates when 2 machines on site, but only one getting operated at a time? That's a good one. I can answer that if you want. Do you guys want to start, or do you want me to go?
No, you go.
Oh,
You have a go, and then I'll.
There you go. There was and in I had a lot of combos going, and sometimes like same thing. I'd have 2 machines sitting on site, and I used to have some customers. Some customers were good. They used to say that's fine. You still charge us a combo rate because we've got that. We've got the ability to have both machines on site, and even if you're only jumping on one, at least they've got that option of using the other one whenever they need to. But then I did have other customers that were saying like, oh, well, that machine hasn't been used for 2-3 days, or you've only used that one most of the day, so you should only be charging me for one. But I believe you should be getting combo rate the whole time. That's my opinion, and that's what I used to push for. I used to push and say, well, if you want, I'll take one machine away. Otherwise, you're paying combo because I've got both on here, and then you don't have to float another one in. You're saving yourself costs, whereas I could be putting that out and working separately if I wanted to, and getting charging for both. But yeah, what do you guys think?
You go, Jack.
So I don't do it, but a fella I know does it. And what he does is he'll dry hire both machines to the customer, and then he will charge, say, 80, 90 bucks an hour for his operator to be there, and it doesn't matter what he's driving then, sort of thing, rather than charging full whack for both sort of things. So he sort of still gets a bit extra than what he would for running one, but yeah, they've got both there sort of thing. But I don't do it. And 99% of my work's in the digger, mate. So yeah, it is what it is. Like, yeah, I take the skid steer to some jobs, but most of the time the skid steer might only do, it does 250 hours a year. So what's that a week? 2 hours a
Yeah,
week?
it's not much. Yeah, not much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So what were you going to say as well, Shane?
I've had similar experience with the dry hiring side of things. So I was supplying machines dry hire on the commercial job, and I was supplying them at a better rate than what that client was getting them direct to same hire mob. And in doing that, it was the same thing. Like I was charging purely for me and my machine with my hourly rate. And then if they needed an extra operator, I would charge, however much it was an hour for the operator. And they were already dry hiring the machine, and that kind of was the agreement. But the agreement was clearly discussed from the get-go. So that wasn't like if you need it, I'll do it. And then the invoice comes in and, hey, this is what's happening. And then jobs that are clearly requiring, say, like a 5-ton and posi combo, I will discuss if it's only me operating, then it might be just an extra charge for the hourly. But in saying that, I do it with my truck when I'm running the digger and truck as a combo. And kind of a standard down here that I've just learnt from others is around 20 bucks, maybe 25 bucks an hour extra on top of your excavator rate, give or take. I've got an 8 cube body. Other people might have a full size 10 cube body. And in doing that, I actually ran a fair few loads recently out of a job where I chewed through 360 bucks worth of diesel. I'm like, well, the 20 bucks an hour hasn't even covered the cost of my diesel. Like, so I actually went backwards on that job. If I had just said, nah, hire a tandem in, I'm just going to excavate. Obviously, more than happy to do it. It's my job. I'm aware of the costs involved, and it's a long-term project. But you can get caught out whether if you've got a local tip site or somewhere close, then 20 bucks an hour is fine. And people will argue that, you're not using the diesel in your machine. I'm like, mate, a 5-tonner uses 40, maybe 45 litres a day. Like, what am I really losing out on there, So, yeah, I was running up and down the Monash to a tip site. You got traffic, you got school zones, and I think I was averaging about 500 k's a day.
It's a lot of days, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I've taken different options. Yeah, so I had a company where we did some stuff, some hardscape work and that, and landscape, and yeah, I had a machine that I hired. So I think I dry hired my posi to them, and then gave them my operator with a 5-tonner on a regular hourly rate, and then if he needed to jump in the posi track, they just paid me the dry hire rate for the day as well. Then I ran with a landscaping company for nearly a year, and had my 5-tonner and posi on there, and just charged them. Actually, when I had the 5-tonner, posi and tipper, it used to be like 150 an hour for all three, no matter what. Whichever one I use doesn't matter. So whether I use one all day or all three, it didn't matter. But I'd leave them all on site all the time as well. So yeah, I suppose there's different ways you can do it. Atacama Earthworks is saying combo rate or dry hire. Oh, what have I done here? Combo rate or dry hire on the second one if it gets used. If not, the stand down rate. And then Earthworking Australia says if a client asks you to bring both machines, then they pay combo rate, because that second machine could be on another job earning a full rate. And that's what I was saying. That used to be my argument to them as well. Yeah, so have you guys got anything else to add there?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it just needs to be tailored to what the job requires. Like, if you're on site, you should have a pretty clear indication on, we've lost Jack.
Oh, we've lost him.
Come back, Jack.
Must be no reception out in the country, yeah.
You should be able to get a pretty clear indication on, are you going to be running both, hard? Is one just going to be sitting there and just used for like ferrying a few things over to site? Like, you got to tailor it to suit. I mean, I think the longer term stuff, probably dry hire is maybe a more suitable way to go. But again, tailor to each job's requirements, and you're only going to be able to do that by getting a clear indication on what the job needs and go from there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I suppose you could be willing to work with them. So, like I was saying, to try and win a customer over, that you might say to them for the first day, look, I'm only going to charge you for a single machine instead of combo, just to get in the door. And then you say to them, but every day after that, we'll be back to combo. Could be another option, But yeah, that's how I was doing it too. I should just charge combo all the time.
Yeah, if you've got your machine there, you need to be charging for it, because it's exactly that. Like, it could be elsewhere doing something else.
Yeah, yeah.
And sure,
and
like,
even
if you don't have a worker in it, it's not the point. The point is, like, you've paid, that machine costs money. Like, you can't just have it there willy nilly for the sake of it.
yeah, I've had customers say to me, well, you're the only one operating, you've got no other operators now, so where else are you going to put it? And I'd say, well, it doesn't matter. If I choose to, I can say, well, I'll get an operator and put it somewhere. But if you want two machines, they'll sit here. And if you want that luxury of being able to get me to swap between machines when you need me to, then you need to pay for it as a combo. That's what it is.
Yeah. I had it recently with this auger. So obviously I own my own auger and a few other things, but I had to hire a smaller diameter attachment and a heap of extensions, brought them to site, had them on site for 3 days, and then we never once used them because we weren't happy with the engineering side of it. And I had to return that gear and wear a fee for hiring it. But it was my prerogative to not charge the client, because we do have a good relationship, and the job's got plenty of fat on it, I guess. But it's keeping me employed for long enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, so those little things as well. Like, if you're hiring a specialty attachment or equipment, machine, whatever it might be, you need to be charging for it, especially on a commercial job. If they ask you to get something and you go and get it and it doesn't get used, doesn't matter. You asked me to get it, so
Yeah.
you got to wear it.
Actually, that's probably not a bad thing. I forgot. I didn't even mention that. What about if you want to win the customer over? You say to them, "Look, I'm not going to charge you for an attachment for the first day." Like, that's maybe another option if you really want to win them over, and say, "Look, I won't charge you for the hammer today, or I won't charge you for the auger."
I've done it.
Yeah.
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 I did it with like my hydraulic grab. I take that. Any job that has demo or removal of concrete, I'll take it. This same particular job I was talking about, I used it 2 days, but I might have only used it for, say, 15, 20 minutes. Definitely needed it, like it was required, and I just didn't bother charging the client. I own it outright. We've got a good relationship. I was using a rock hammer and things, and I was charging accordingly for the rock hammer, so I didn't feel the need to charge for the hydraulic grab. But in saying that, I do note it on my invoice too. Hydraulic grab was used, no charge.
Yes, I do that too, man. That's a good thing. I make it known on there that I did use it, but I chose not to charge, so that they do remember, like, oh yeah, that's right, he did use it, but didn't charge me. Because then I can always say that one day, like, hey man, I didn't charge you for that time and that time and that time, and they can always go back and refer to it, and I know, and they can see it. Yeah, it's a good way to do it, man.
Yeah, you'd never want to, you don't ever want to be in a relationship with someone where they're going to try and use anything against you. Like, that's not someone you want to be working for, but it's just that clear transparency to say, hey, like, if there ever was a doubt in their mind, they can clearly see what you've done. Like, my invoices are practically novels. So everything's detailed down to, pretty fine, fine detail, I guess. Like, when I arrived, when I leave, what I used. I go as far as putting down kilometers driven in the truck when I'm using the truck for hire, so they can see the value that they're getting.
Wow,
I did 1,091 kilometers in 4 days on that particular job, and they're getting a combo rate, but they can see, fuck, that truck's driven to Sydney.
Yeah.
So
that's not bad. I've never considered that. I suppose, a highly detailed invoice can be very handy. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Jack, you're back again, man. We lost you. We lost you for a bit.
Yeah, phone decided she was going to have a nap.
Oh, geez. I don't know if you saw what we were talking about then, but we went through a couple of things. We're talking about? Oh, well, we continued talking about using your machines as a combo on site, but only getting paid for one. And then we hit a few other things. What else? Well, and that's right. We're talking about whether or not you should, sometimes waive the fee on an attachment if you want to try and win a customer over. So once again, it seems like we're always the ones that lose out, isn't it? It's funny.
Well, I didn't know people charge for a sieve bucket up until recently. And then going through it, I'm like, well, yeah, the wear and tear on your machine is just massive.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had to find out some info about that, but I don't own one. But then again, if I did own one and was sifting through like maybe some light soil after doing a green waste job, like I probably wouldn't charge for that. But doing demo, yeah, I'm definitely charging. Like my machine's copping a beating.
Yeah. Yeah. Hang on, what's happening here? Atacama Earthworks, you're saying sometimes sometimes give a free attachment for free is not a bad idea. It works to educate the client on how more efficient you can be with the right tool. Okay, yeah, I get that. And then if they call you again,
talk to.
Yeah.
I think he's got the bloody Encon or steel wrist or something. I love Atacama stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
Get on here. What are you doing?
Yeah, hey, we'll get you on here next week. Atacama, you're coming on next week, mate. That's it. You got no choice. You're coming on next week. Oh, are you up for it, Atacama? You're gonna tell us. You'll be in next week.
I think he's got like forks and all the grabs and having those 360 attachments. I'm pretty sure there'd be a million times that bloke would have to. He's got it, so it's convenient for themselves, but then that client doesn't really understand what they're getting for free,
You're saying no English. No English. I like it. Oh, you never know. We might get him on there. All right. No, that's good, man. Look, I think we hit a few good points there. Hopefully everybody got something out of this, especially now when it's a little bit quieter. Maybe not in all parts of Australia, but especially in Melbourne, though, it is very quiet. So if you're trying to win over a new client, hopefully we've given you a few options there. It seems, unfortunately, like a lot of times we take a bit of a hit, by waiving fees or waiving attachments and this and that. But it might be what you need to do just to get in that door. But then there's those other things we spoke about, like presentation, having all the right documentation and this and that. So I suppose there's some things that you can do that we won't take as much of a hit. Anything else you guys want to add? We're about 9 o'clock now. So anything you guys want to add before we finish up? Don't all jump in too quick. Yeah. Is there anything else you guys want to add, or is there something I've missed?
I just think, it's all basic stuff in it. You've just got to do your best and do a good job, and they'll ring if they see it. Like quality over quantity every time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and putting in the groundwork. So my whole experience and things I've been finding out lately with this side of it is, again, back to the social proof. They want to know that you're capable. They want to know you've got your documents. And like, if you can kind of put that to them before they even have to ask, that's a good kind of taking the first foot forward, like if you can present that in a way that they don't have to do any work to find out, that's definitely going to benefit you every time.
I suppose, yeah, that's right. When you may be giving them your rates, you also slip in there all your documentation. So it's all there, and say, listen, in case we do go ahead, here's all my stuff. And I suppose another thing is, you could even say to them, like, hey, do you want me to come out and meet you on site beforehand, and let's have a look at what you've got and see what I can do for you. So that way, when I do turn up, we hit the ground running. Or if you need me to organise something else, I can do it. I suppose that's another thing. Yeah, you can say, I'll come out prior and have a bit of a look.
I will offer to go to every site.
Yep.
There is never going to be a time that I won't offer to come out to site, because as an employee for majority of my working life, the amount of times you got burnt over and thrown under the bus because somebody didn't go and look at something or check a access measurement, or neighbouring properties, overhead power lines, trucks, all that kind of stuff. So I will never be the bloke that doesn't go to site to have a look and just throw someone at it. So that's definitely a big one for me.
Yeah. Yeah, and another thing I do is I always do, like, if I'm quoting a job, I always look at the address and then do like a street view on Google Maps. Yeah, so I always have a look and see what's there. Like you say, is there power lines? What's across the road? Is there a school there? I need to consider, like, when I'm bringing trucks in, is there going to be all traffic? What's going to happen? So yeah, I think a lot of guys probably don't do that. But if you can show your customer that you've done a bit of research, they'll probably also love that.
Yep, definitely. I had a demo one that came into my emails that they wanted me to, quote some footings, and you could kind of tender whatever or however much you can buy it off. And I looked at the property, didn't have much info on it on Google and things like that, and realestate.com. So I just said stuff it, jumped in the car, went for a drive, and mate, it was a pretty gnarly looking joint. The elevations were extreme. It was full asbestos bicky box. I was like, this is a nightmare. I don't want to touch this. So
Nope.
yeah. I tended just the excavation side of it, but I know that there would be so many variations to a job like that, and that's something I make very clear when I send an email.
Yeah, that's probably another good thing we can talk about one day is, what to put in your quotes, what to put in your invoices, and what to put in your quotes. So that could be another good topic. But yeah, once again, guys, I really, really appreciate you coming on. I know it's a Sunday night. It's probably getting a bit late. Everyone wants to go to bed for our nice early starts. But I think it's been a success, yeah, and I really enjoy these chats, and hopefully all your listeners are getting some stuff out of this. Like I said, the whole purpose is to try and help each other out. So I'm really happy that we can give you that. If anyone has any suggestions, please put them forward, and we can talk about these topics and do some research and come back and do more episodes like this. Guys, before we go, anything else you want to add?
Next week, Atacama, get on it, make it happen.
Yeah, 100%. I'll back that up.
Atacama, you're gonna do some English lessons to come in for next week.
My phone's got a translator anyway, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Set it up. All right, now that's it. Sign language. We'll do that. Yeah, we'll have to get someone on if we have to. Yeah. All right. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much. I'll let you guys log off, and then I'll finish up with the rest of it. Actually, Jack, did you see last week's episode? I did something special for you, and you didn't even attend that episode.
I haven't, mate. Yeah, that'll be a tomorrow job. Once I get digging tomorrow, I'll get into it.
That's all right. I was wearing your T-shirt last week. I was promoting for you.
Yeah, good's that?
Like, yep. I said he's going to be on. He's going to be wrapped. He didn't even come on. How's that?
Last Sunday, where was I last Sunday? I would have been out for dinner, I reckon.
Yeah, probably.
Actually, I was. Yeah, because we just got back from holidays. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. All right. No, I appreciate you guys coming on. I really enjoyed this. Let's do it again. Yeah, if you guys are happy to do it, I'm definitely happy. I'm down for it.
No dramas at all.
Very good. Very good. All right, guys. Thank you once again. I'll let you guys log out. Do you know how to do that from there, or?
I'm going 3 dots.
That's
X, mate. The big X.
The big X. That's it. All right,
Shelby.
Guys. Thank you very much. Have a good week, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.
Easy. See you, mate.
Yeah. See ya. There you go. They're both out. No, lovely bunch of gentlemen. I really, really thank the boys for coming on. I reckon it's really good. If you guys are happy with what we've been doing, we can plan a few more like this. If you've got some topics you want us to cover, hit me up as well so I can put those forward and we can prepare for them and bring them out to you guys. Terrapro sending some messages. Sydney Rockwell saying awesome live. Good. Success. I'm happy. Before I go, make sure that you go to my website, www.earthworkshub.com.au, register your business on there, register yourself on the site, then you become a member automatically. If you need tip sites, if you need any, or if you know of a tip site, you can register one. If you have any events, or if you're looking for work, or if you're looking for a worker, It's all on there. You can go on, find out what the information you need, earthworkshub.com.au. Also, we've got the Facebook group. We've got my YouTube channel, so go on there and subscribe and like and follow and all that other stuff. TikTok, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, like I said, Instagram, all the socials. So I'm basically on everything. Thank you very much for joining us on this Sunday evening. I wish you all the best for this week. Hopefully the workload starts picking up. I feel like it might be starting to pick up a little bit. I'm starting to get a lot more phone calls recently. But yeah, hopefully it all gets a bit better and busier and the weather starts improving for us as well. Thanks for joining me, guys. I will see you on the next episode. Take care.